How ridiculous is that? How ridiculous is that? That's the thumbnail sorted. Excellent. Move on. Hello there, and welcome to another Elite FPL video with myself, Stevo, where today we are going to be talking about Game Week 14. Surprise, surprise. I got 2 free transfers. No idea. Well, I do know what to do with them, but I don't know what to do with them. But I do know what to do with them, but I don't know what to do with them. Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting game week, especially with the news that Haaland's out. Only joking. There'll be someone in the chat. What are you fucking talking about? He's fine. Stop fucking pissing people off with your fake news, mate. Fuck off. 55 seconds in. I say that's demonetised. I'm not even monetising this anyway. But yeah, I kind of have a general idea of what I'm going to be. I've got 2 free transfers, and I've got a general idea what I want to do. However, it's not as easy as it sounds, and it really is going to be me doing these transfers lastminute.com. It's not really dependent on the news regarding Haaland. I really couldn't care less if he's not playing or not. He ain't leaving my team. I've got too much money invested in him, and I can't bring him back if I was to get rid of him for Harry Kane, for argument's sake. But the general consensus, what I'm looking at doing, is sacking off Robertson because of his rotation risk. Ideally, I want to keep my team as it is and get rid of Trossard and Skamaka. Skamaka, as I mentioned in the members video the other day, did nothing for me, where I thought to myself, wow, I'm so happy I've got you in my team. Playing against Bournemouth, I felt that he was too overconfident and was overplaying everything. I just didn't see anything from Skamaka where I just felt that he was going to do something. Admittedly, West Ham in general weren't great. The only player that stood out for me was Ben Rama. And if honestly, if West Ham's fixtures were any good for the last 3, I would legit jump on Ben. Well, I say that. Crystal Palace and Leicester at home. I may, depending on all the news that comes out of the Europa League tonight, I may be bringing in Ben Rama for a couple of weeks. He looked fantastic against Bournemouth. He looked really good. He looked kind of reminded me of, like, say, with Robertson, whenever he comes on for Liverpool, or when he plays for Liverpool. He's so attack-minded that I just get blown away by the fact that Klopp doesn't play him. Yeah, but Steve-O, he suffers from injuries. And while he's fit, you play him. Yeah, but he's trying to build up his fitness when he's coming into the team. Well, he seems fine to me. I get it. Play your fucking first team, for crying out loud. Does my head in. Just play the team that you confidently are happy to go in with every single week, that you want to keep winning. And I think, personally, that Robertson is the better of the 2 out of him and Tsimikas. Obviously, there's a small possibility. I mean, ironically, this week, Ajax being beaten by them, Robertson got an assist, a clean sheet. Salah got a goal and an assist. I mean, you can't make that up, can you? But because of that rotation risk, and I mentioned on Sunday Surgery as well, I'm looking at maybe getting rid of Robertson. Or looking to get rid of Robertson. And the striker that I want to bring in is actually Darwin. I want to go up with the triple up. I want to go with the not Darwin, Salah and Trent triple up. I like the look of that a lot. And they've got a really, really good fixture against Leeds on Saturday evening. And I cannot wait to see that game, because it is going to be absolutely fascinating, because I think Leeds are going to potentially get a bit of a tanking there. I really do. I was thinking a potential -4 could be Darwin, Zaha and Robertson out for Skamaka, Zaha and Robertson out for Darwin, Saka and Tomiyasu. Problem is, Tomiyasu isn't nailed. So I've kind of got to play around with a few things here or there. If I can't bring in Darwin this week, and I want to get rid of someone like, say, Trossard, who is at home to Chelsea, where that game has got 0-0, 1-1, 1-0 to Chelsea written all over it. Put that 50p on under 2.5 goals in that game. Christ. And I am tempted to go with, again, it all depends on tonight's fixtures, as just as a free transfer. So I still keep hold of Mitrovic, Haaland and Skamaka. As a free transfer, do Trossard to Marcus Rashford. 6.6. He's playing up front for United. He's playing well. They've got West Ham at home, who, in my opinion, are going to be... it's going to be a tight game, don't get me wrong, but I just think that Man United's fixtures for the last 3 are really good. West Ham at home is solid enough. Again, though, I mean, low-scoring game. But Aston Villa away, Fulham away, I think there's potential for him to get some points in these 3 fixtures. Admittedly, looking at his literal raw data, as Mark Southerns would say, it doesn't look that great. He's got 5 returns, and admittedly the minutes aren't that great, but the main returns have come in the Arsenal home victory where they won 3-1, and he got 2 goals and assist. He got assist against Leicester, he got a goal against Liverpool, and the last 5-6 fixtures since the Arsenal game, he's done nothing. Now let's have a look at those games. Man City, Everton, Newcastle, Tottenham, Chelsea. Of all those games, where would you expect him to get any points? Everton and Newcastle? And even then, when you know what we know now, Everton and Newcastle are no easy fixture. I can already hear someone say, but Nor's West Ham. Yeah, you're right. But I just think Fulham, Aston Villa, get him in now while I can. I reckon a tired West Ham as well after Europa game. I mean, I know Man United are playing tonight as well, but they're at home. Man United are at home. And whereas in Leicester's case, West Ham's case. I mean, I don't know if they're home and away. I need to check on the whoschool.com. Don't actually cover the Europa Conference League, annoyingly. And I kind of want to... they're at home as well. So both teams are at home. Okay, fair enough. That doesn't help me whatsoever. But certainly my issues with my team, as you can see up on screen, in my opinion, are Zaha. But he's got a really good fixture at home to Southampton. But again, that game I can see being pretty tight. Southampton got a good good draw against Arsenal, albeit it was at home. I don't think Southampton would be able to get the result at the Emirates as an example, but away from home, Southampton are actually not too bad. They don't score goals and they concede a lot, but they're 9th in the table, bizarrely. They've won 2 and lost 4. They haven't drawn a single game. Crystal Palace on the hand at home. It's all over the place again. 1-3, drawn 1, lost 2, scored 9, conceded 8. So I don't really want to be dropping Zaha for that game at home to Southampton. That would just be madness. But Trossard at home to Chelsea. Brighton's fixtures upcoming. Chelsea at home, Wolves away, Aston Villa at home. Yeah, they're just not really for me. And if I can somehow bring in Saka for that home game against Nottingham Forest. Again, this is all dependent on... Annoyingly, Saka's gone up in price again. He's now back to 8.0. And I could bring him in. It leaves me with 5.6 in the bank. That's if I get rid of Robertson. And I could also bring in, say, an Arsenal defender. But the issue is that Arsenal fixture after that, Chelsea and then Wolves. Do I really want a defender in those games? No. Not particularly. Chelsea, on the other hand, is a team that I was thinking, who plays for them? Who actually plays for Chelsea? Who's guaranteed starter for Chelsea? And their fixtures, Brighton, Arsenal, Newcastle, horrible. I can see them conceding in every single one. There'll be tight games, but I can see them conceding. I mean, Cucurella, but his position isn't... Well, his position's guaranteed to start, but to play the full 90, it ain't happening. So yeah, my head's a bit all over the place at the moment with this team. And my favoured move, though, is... My favoured move is the -4. To get in Darwin for that game against Leeds. Keep Trossard and Zaha in the team and get rid of Robertson. It leaves me with 4.8 in the bank, and I could go with Man United's Dalot. Or even an Arsenal defender like, for argument's sake, Ben White. As a simple example. Is Tierney guaranteed to start? Unfortunately not. As I mentioned before, Tomiyasu, his position isn't guaranteed. He started the last 3 though. Has started the last 3. Played the full 90 minutes. It's a shame we don't know about that situation, but certainly for a defender that's 4.2, other players that I could consider looking at the Leicester team. But why would I bring in a Leicester player when they've got Man City? So yeah, it's Dalot is the main one that I've been seriously looking at. He went up in price last night. And then I'd have the back 3 of Dalot, Trent and Trippier. And Dalot's got, like I said, West Ham, Aston Villa, Fulham. Solid enough fixtures. And then I could easily, for the following week, bring in Rashford for Trossard if I'm still thinking that maybe liking the look of Trossard as a simple example. If I'm still liking the look of Man United, because I'm able to watch them on Sunday afternoon, I'll be able to have a gander at what they're looking like. And then it's then moving on to game week 15. However, if I don't feel the need to get rid of Robertson, and I think, do you know what, let's just risk it. Let's just risk it and go with Robertson, Trent and Salah. It could be just a case of get rid of Trossard for Rashford this week as that 1 week punt. And I got 2 free transfers for next week. For game week 15. Where, favourable fixtures that stand out. I wouldn't want, for instance, Robertson by that point. I could get rid of him then. But these decisions are going to be very, very, very tough because my money in the bank is essentially non-existent. So, yeah. What I will say is that the team is pretty much set for myself moving into game week 14. So for people listening on audio, we got Pope in goal, Trippier, Robertson, Trent, Martinelli, Salah captain. I am going to be captain in Salah. Trossard, Zaha, Haaland, Mitrovic and Skamaka. The only downside to Mitrovic is that James was saying on Planet FPL that he didn't like the look of the way Mitrovic was moving, in the sense of he doesn't look like he's recovered from that injury that he had. So it's essentially just wait and see on the press conferences, which of course I'll be doing until deadline day, because I don't need to move anybody until that Saturday afternoon. And then, we just find out all the information that we need to know and take it from there, really. But even if it was confirmed that Haaland was out, depending on the severity of the injury, which I very much doubt it was that serious, I would think that potentially Haaland's going to be out for a week at most, because their fixture list is as follows. So they've obviously got Leicester away. They've already guaranteed top spot in the Champions League, so he doesn't need to play against Sevilla, and that's at home anyway, but he doesn't need to play in it. Then they're at home to Fulham. Then they're at home to Chelsea. Then they're at home to... So they got... Fucking hell. Okay, they got 4 home games in a row. That's astonishing. And if for argument's sake, if Haaland was out for 2-3 weeks officially, I might take a sneaky punt on Alvarez. He always seems to, whenever he's come on, he seems to impress. And then I'd be able to potentially, if it was possible, maybe get De Bruyne in for the last 2. Depending, I mean, Akanji's quite expensive, isn't he? He's like 7, isn't he, or something? Alvarez is 6 million. So yeah, I could in theory do that. Let's just say, for argument's sake, Pep says unfortunately it's not looking good for Haaland. By the way, this won't happen, but he's out for 2-3 weeks. I could easily bring in De Bruyne. In fact, I may even consider doing that this game week. De Bruyne and Alvarez in for Haaland and Trossard as a simple example. But yeah, De Bruyne, Haaland will be, let's just say he doesn't make it for Leicester. He's then got Sevilla to rest, plays against Fulham, rest against Man City, plays against Brentford, and that's it. End of. Got your World Cup break, 4 or 5 weeks off, done. Then he can fully recover, do whatever he needs to do, happy days. But yeah, there's lots of, like I say, without wanting to repeat myself, lots of decision making regarding this particular game week. We'll quickly, I'll just quickly go through just a general idea of what I think the fixtures are going to be looking like score wise. Like I say, I like doing the predictions. I'm just listening into Black Box actually. They've got FPL Focal Oscar. He joined Mark and really enjoyed the show. It was, you know when it's a good podcast, when essentially you can't be bothered to do what you're doing because you're so engrossed in listening into the podcast that you're listening to, and that could apply to absolutely anything. But certainly their show yesterday was very enjoyable. So Leicester versus Man City. Leicester in a bit of good form at the moment. There's no denying that. You can't beat about the bush here. They've isn't it 3 clean sheets in the last 4, something like that, or the last 6. Let's have a quick look here as I look over the table. So yeah, they beat Wolves 4-0, 2-0 against Leeds. They drew, once it comes up here, 0-0 against Christmas. That's 3 clean sheets in a row. They lost narrowly to Bournemouth 2-1, and then they beat Forest 4-0. So certainly Leicester are looking like a different kettle of fish at the moment, as it stands right now. Certainly at home, they're unbeaten in the last 3. I mean, Man City are just, as we all know, they're a bit hit or miss away from home. Last 5, 1-2 drawn, 1-2 drawn 2, lost 1. That loss obviously was at Liverpool, 1-0. I do expect them to win here at Leicester. Shall we go with the usual Leicester result? Bilal, 2-1 to Man City? Yeah, let's go 2-1 Man City. Let's go 2-1 Man City. Bournemouth Spurs. God, Spurs. I know Brew isn't happy with their performance whatsoever, especially last night in the Champions League, drawing 1-1. And they're up against a Bournemouth team that have shown a lot of fight of late. They're really doing well at the moment. Okay, the game against West Ham, they're always going to lose that. It was always going to be a tight game. I did say at the time 1-0, 2-0, something like that. I mean, if in the score predictor, I think I put 2-0. But yeah, admittedly, Bournemouth have lost their last 2 fixtures. And once again, I expect Tottenham to do a professional job here. But it ain't going to be an easy game. Again, 1-0, 2-0, something like that. So yeah, I think any Tottenham assets, you should be okay with them, certainly. Brighton versus Chelsea. Oh, sorry, Brentford versus Wolves. Christ almighty. Brentford's results are literally all over the place at the moment. 1 minute you think they're going to beat someone quite comfortably or get a decent result and they lose. And when you don't think they're going to win, they win. Case in point, beating Brighton 2-0. They drew against Chelsea 0-0. They lose 4-0 to Aston Villa, 5-1 to Newcastle. Lose 3-0 to Arsenal, 0-0 against Bournemouth. I think this is going to be, as you can imagine, a tight game. Again, 0-0. 1-2-0 Brentford, 1-0, something like that. I think Wolves will take the draw right now, but they just, by all accounts, don't look like they're scoring. Although, to be fair, they had a lot of shots against Leicester. It's just that Ward was in the form of his life again. So, there's a possibility, actually, Wolves may get something out of this game. And can I come out with a Steve-O line? If Wolves were to win this, would I be shocked? No. If they were to win, say, 1-0. Brighton-Chelsea. Chelsea unbeaten under Potter, is that right? Brighton, on the other hand, once again, results just all over the place since this new manager took over. Like I say, Chelsea unbeaten at the moment. Last 6, 1-4, drawn 2. And I generally expect them to beat Brighton here. I'm going to go with a 1-0, 2-1. A goal in it, essentially, for Chelsea. 1-0, 2-1, something like that. Their last 2 home fixtures have produced 1 goal, and that was to, can you guess, Brew? That's right, Tottenham. 1-0 to Tottenham. 0-0 against... In fact, Brighton have scored once in their last 4 fixtures. And that was against Man City. Drew 0-0 with Forest, lost 2-0 against Brentford, lost 1-0 against Brighton. And obviously had that anomaly by drawing 3-3 with Liverpool. I think 1-0 to Chelsea in that specific fixture. My gut instinct is telling me there. Crystal Palace Southampton again. Crystal Palace results are just all over the place at the moment. 1 minute they're getting a draw against teams you don't expect, then they're getting wins against teams you don't expect, then they're losing to teams you'd expect to win or get a draw or something. And yeah, last several fixtures, drawn, loss, 1, drawn, 1, loss, draw, based on that pattern. Southampton, on the other hand, loss, drawn 1, drawn 1. Even though Crystal Palace drawn 4 this season, Southampton have drawn 3 this season. At home, Crystal Palace, pretty solid. 1-3, drawn 1, lost 2. Scored 9, conceded 8. Last 2 fixtures they've won. 2-1 against Wolves. 2-1 against Leeds. Should we go with the 2-1 then? So yeah, it's looking like a tight game. Like I say, with Southampton. Last 6 fixtures, lost 4, won 2. Last game they played away was away at Bournemouth, where they won 1-0. So yeah, I think maybe a tight 1-0, 2-1 to Crystal Palace. Newcastle Aston Villa is a really intriguing game. My immediate reaction is 1-0 to Newcastle. New manager bounce, Unai Emery coming in. I'd be interested to hear Dan's thoughts on Unai Emery coming in for Aston Villa. I think this will be, again, tight. Newcastle in the form of their lives at the moment, doing really, really well. At home, they haven't lost a game. They've scored 12, essentially scoring 2 a game. Only conceded 5, sorry. Aston Villa, on the other hand, haven't won a game away. Drawn 2, lost 4, scored 3, conceded 11. 1-2-0 based on that to Newcastle. Fulham Everton 1-1. Cancel each other out. Everton doing really well at the moment defensively. Fulham, they can attack. It's just getting through the Everton defence, and I just think that they're going to cancel each other out. I'm going to go 1-1. Liverpool Leeds is the big one for me. This is the big one. If Liverpool turn it on, genuinely, if Liverpool want to turn it on, 4, 5, 6, genuinely, I really do think that Liverpool could put the fireworks on tonight, on that night, and put a stomping on Leeds here. Once again, their fixtures all over the place. Last 2 home matches in the Premier League, 1-0. Their last away game, 1-0 loss. So there seems to be something going on with their attack. But playing Ajax last night, by all accounts, they look really, really good. Leeds, on the other hand, I mean, they're conceding 2 a game away from home. Average, in fact, is more than that. Average away. Last few results away from home. 2-0 to Leicester. They lost 2-1 to Crystal Palace. 5-2 to Brentford. Yeah, I think 4. Let's go with 4-0 to Liverpool. Maybe even 5. I reckon a high scoring game. Arsenal Nottingham Forest. I think Arsenal just put in a professional job here. 1-2-0. Done. And then Man United West Ham. Like I said, I think this is going to be really, really tight. David Moyes doesn't want to lose against his former club. Which is crazy to think he was in charge of Man United. Excuse me. But no, I think Man United come out of this on top. The fact that it's at home. I think the fact that it's at home sways it for me. If this was at, say, the London Stadium, I think each team, if each team were at home, they'd just nick it. So I'm going to go with a 1-0 to Man United here. 1-3, drawn 1, lost 1. Only scored 8. Conceded 4. Last 4 fixtures, they're unbeaten. 1-3, drawn 1. West Ham away from home, though. Again, not particularly great reading for the Hammers fans. Drawn 1, lost. Drawn 1. Sorry, 1-1, drawn 1. God, how many ones do you want to have in there? And lost 4. Scored only 3, conceded only 6. So very low scoring games here. I mean, the last game was 1-0 against Liverpool. They drew 1-1 against Southampton. 1-0 against Everton. 2-1 against Chelsea. Yeah, 1-0. Now, there we are. There's your answer, 1-0. So, yeah, all good. All good. And then we'll just put my team up quickly again just to show you what I'm doing. But yeah, as ever, just want to say thanks for watching. Just a quick half-an-hour video for you guys watching on the premiere. And yeah, as ever, if you are enjoying the content me and Jason are bringing you, by all means, if you want to hit the subscribe button, please do. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button as well. And of course, join our Discord. The link is in the description. And Rumble as well. If you want to follow us on Rumble, if you're more of a Rumble fan, go follow us on that. Just everything's Elite FPL. And yeah, if you want to follow us on Twitter, we don't actually upload anything, but it's at Elite FPL. So all the Elite FPLs. On that note, cheers everybody. Catch you later.